All right. So we're going to have Duncan start us off, which if you have not had the pleasure of sitting in on one of Duncan's presentations, you are in for a treat. And after Duncan, we are going to have Alivia. So Duncan, go ahead and take it away.
I normally have music. I like to have some music to get the energy. You know, I've been listening to this one song. Let me play it for y'all. I don't know why this song has just like resonated with me, and I just have been listening to it on repeat. But let me see. Of course, I can't find it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Have y'all heard this song?
Look it, look it, look it, look it, look it, look it, unlock it, look it, look it, look it, look it. Beautiful roller coaster ride in the fast lane.
No, ain't nobody heard that song?
You got the candy colored eyes, pink and gold.
Anyway, that was
the artist.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let me see.
I'll be quiet.
No, it's Kim Petras and Jay Park.
Okay, I'll look it up.
I heard it one day and I've looked it up and I just have been like listening to it nonstop. Okay. Anyway, so thank you for the introduction, Jahida and Pathstones and the team. Yasmin, thank you for letting us take over this She Means Business training for a night to talk about resilience and everything. I know y'all been serious. You know, y'all been She Mean in business out here. Like y'all got homework assignments and stuff. Like y'all serious. So I'm really happy to take a moment to talk about resilience. All right. So I know we're going to run out of time at some point tonight. So I'm going to try to move it along quickly. But before we get started, I've got to make sure that everybody is here with me, right? Because you can be here on the Zoom, but your mind is somewhere else. Your kids is banging the dishes, right? You watching TV, you on TikTok, you typing up something on another computer, right? All of this stuff. But in order to get anything out of today's workshop, you got to be present here with me, okay? So to get us started, we're going to kick it off with like a little icebreaker, little brain teaser. But I would love if everybody could turn their cameras on. If you are okay with it, it would be awesome. Because as a presenter, staring at like a bunch of boxes that just have names on them, you know, it's kind of tough as a presenter. Okay, I see Shavonda. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I see the cameras. Listen, I know it's like Thursday night. We all quarantine casual. I got my polo on and sweatpants. So, you know, we just chilling. Some of y'all at work driving. So thank you all for those of you who are turning the cameras on. Okay, there's Miss Lola, Sandra. Okay, yeah, we rolling. All right. So I'm gonna read you kind of a story and ask you a question about it. Okay. If you know the answer, you're just gonna raise your hand. Real easy breezy. All right, here's the story. One night, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker go into a castle. The next morning, 4 people walk out. Who are the 4 people? I'm gonna read it to you again, okay? Now that you heard the question, I'm gonna read it again. One night, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker go into a castle. The next morning, 4 people walk out. Who are the 4 people? I'm seeing some blank stares. I'm seeing, come on. Y'all supposed to be mean in business. Who's the 4 people?
King of the castle.
Okay, that's a good guess. That's a good guess right there, Sandra. Thank you. No, but it's not the king.
Gingerbread man.
The gingerbread man. Okay. Okay, Renetta's got her hand up. What you got?
I said Jesus. I'm thinking about
that Jesus.
You know, the 3 Hebrew.
That was my first thought too.
And 4 came out.
Okay. We are going all the way left. We have taken this all the way left. All right. So can somebody type in the chat? Who can type real fast? Can I get somebody who can type real fast? Real fast. All right, type this in the chat. Jahida, ain't nobody raised their hand, so I'm volunteering you. Right, type what I say here. One night, a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker go into a castle. Oh, the hand's coming up now. I see some people trying to, Miss Lawrence, what you got?
A night, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker.
Yeah, there you go. One night, a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker go into the castle. The next day, 4 people. Okay, so here's the point. You got to listen. You got to pay attention. You can't assume. Y'all already smart. Most of y'all are already resilient and strong and have been through a lot. So you can look at tonight and say, oh, resilience, oh, perseverance, I got that, right? And you may miss something. So you got to really pay attention because maybe something we put in here is something you didn't think of. Is that fair? Is that good for everybody? Thumbs up. I'm like an interaction person, so I'm going to be getting like thumbs up, head nodding, people typing in the chat, laughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's what we're looking for. Awesome. All right, so let me share just a little bit about my background. So y'all like, who is this guy? Like, why is he talking to us? Okay, so real quick, I'm from Buffalo, went to college down south. While I was in college, I joined the military. And in 2012, what happened in the Army was more soldiers died from suicide than died in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. So what they did, they ramped up a program to train officers like me to become what were known as master resilience trainers. So we would go to different units to train soldiers to become more resilient to overcome veteran suicide and depression. When I got out of the military, I took that training and I mixed it with some, metaphysical principles and some deep philosophical ideas on presence and being and purpose. And I published a book called Rerouting Resilience Tools and Tactics to help the average everyday person become more resilient and mentally tough. Okay, so that's the short version. Well, y'all don't really care about nothing else. So I got some credentials on this. All right, that's what you need to know. I'm certified in training to be more resilient. Okay. And as business owners, y'all know y'all got to be resilient, especially after this last year that we just had. So, Jahida, I know you made me a co-host, so I'm going to share my screen here as we dive in to talk about some of these concepts. All right. So we'll go to this one. Okay, can somebody come off mute and tell me what do they think of when they hear the word resilience? What are 3 words that describes resilience to you? Somebody just come off mute real quick and tell me what you think of.
Strength. Strong.
I heard strength. What else?
Perseverance.
Perseverance. Yep.
I'll let somebody else go.
Like a go-to, never give up type attitude.
Ooh, that's strong.
Determination.
What's that last one?
Determination.
You said before determination, you said persistent. Okay. Determination.
Overcomer.
Overcomer. Yep. Absolutely. Resilience is all of that. If we had more time, I'd have everybody kind of write a personal story about a time you demonstrated resilience, but we don't have that time today. But all of you all are right. Resilience is somebody who is an overcomer, who's persistent, who's strong, who overcomes setbacks, who doesn't quit. All of those things are true. But I wanted to kind of highlight some things that resilience does. And I highlighted some things that you may not always think of when you think about resilience. One is it builds your ability to deal with stress. That's important because we all deal with stress, right? Build your ability to bounce back from setbacks. Stop you from getting sidetracked. As business owners, I should have highlighted this in green and yellow. Stop you from getting sidetracked and build your confidence. Now listen, y'all are business owners. So how many of y'all had an idea that you're going to do something for your business and you thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and after 3 weeks, you ain't did nothing about it? Thank you for that, honest. Bridget put her hand up strong. She said, oh, yeah, I've been there, right? So resilience will help you from getting sidetracked so much, right? Because the cross currents of life are going all day, every day, and you got to be able to force your idea through that and not get caught up in those cross currents. And resilience skills will help you do that as well. We use the metaphor. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And I know for those super presenters out here, I know I'm not in presentation view because I like to come in and out of my screen share. But resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Think of it like the egg and the tennis ball. When you're resilient, you're like the tennis ball. When you drop, you bounce back. When you're like the egg, you drop and you crack. All right? Because people have this really unhealthy relationship with the idea of failure and setbacks. Okay? I tell people to use the ride a bike mentality, right? When you're a little kid and you're learning how to ride your bike, right? You got your dad or your grandma or your mom, and they're holding that seat, right? They're holding that seat, and you start pedaling, right? And they let go. What happens? You fall, right? That happened to everybody. I mean, some of y'all might be child prodigies, but everybody falls, right? For the most part. And you get back up, and you get back on the bike. They grab the seat. You start pedaling, right? And you go and you try it again, and you fall again. And this repeats over and over until you look up one day and you done went the whole block by yourself. And that's really how life is when you on your journey to success. Falling is actually how you find the balance. So when y'all having these setbacks, when you trying to do stuff for your business and this thing didn't work, that's actually how you find the balance of what does work, how you make it from A to B. Does that make sense? So it's like failure is actually not like this scary thing that y'all need to be worried about, because the only thing there's only two outcomes that can happen when you try something or you give your all to something. You either succeed or you fail and you learn something. So the only two possible outcomes are you succeed or you learn something. So we should be trying everything, right? We should be giving everything a shot. If the only two outcomes are you succeed or you learn something, let's go, right? That mindset, that perspective shift can help you a lot of times overcome the setbacks that stagnates us when we're planning or thinking about something. All right. So first we're going to do an exercise that I do at all my trainings. It's called Hunt the Good Stuff. All right. So what I want everybody to do, the way we do this is you name 3 good things that have happened to you in the last 24 hours. Okay. 3 good things. So I want everybody to do that in the chat. I'm gonna come off the screen share, and while I'm talking, y'all drop it in the chat, and I'm gonna model it for you. So I'm gonna go first so you can understand what I mean, right? So, and I have not practiced, so this is just like off the top of my head, 3 good things. All right, number 1, I had a meeting today, and I made it into the building before the rain started coming hard on me because I had no jacket. I mean, it was like moments. Okay, so I was so excited, right? So that's number 1. Number 2. I came home and my daughter had ordered some Chick-fil-A and it was waiting for me and I wasn't even ready for it, right? It was just sitting there waiting. I was like, hey, did y'all eat? She was like, oh, I got that for you. I said, oh, thank you, right? And then number 3, this organization that I'm working with to recruit HBCU students and train them just got a grant for $15,000. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so boom, look, 3 easy things, right? They're not life-changing things, but they're good things, okay? So I want you all to do that in the chat. I see Silver's already on it. Awesome, thank you. So yeah, just put 3 good things in the chat that have happened to you. Alfred, okay. Okay, Yasmin. Well, Yasmin out here working, okay. All right. So I'm gonna let y'all keep doing that. Keep dropping in the chat those 3 things. The reason that we do this at the beginning of every training is because y'all ever had a grandma or somebody at grandma's age that used to say, count your blessings, right? They'd always say it that same way, right? Well, apparently military science has proven that grandma was right. Okay, apparently grandma was a resilient scientist back in the day, all right? Because what it shows is by acknowledging the good things in your life, it builds a spirit of gratitude and it helps to overcome the negativity bias, right? We are more prone to focus on negative things in our life than positive things. So some research says 6, some says 8, that says it takes 6 or 8 positive experiences to overcome 1 negative experience. So it's important that we stockpile the positive experiences so that when we run into the setback, right, it doesn't break us. Have any of y'all ever been having a good day and one bad thing happened and it ruined your mood? Somebody cut you off in traffic and all of a sudden you just pissed for the next 20 minutes because somebody cut you off, right? Your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, boo thing, granddaughter, somebody close to you, y'all get in an argument. All the good stuff that happened that day, you at work, you can't even focus, you so angry. You just so frustrated. Anybody relate to that?
Yes.
Okay, I see a couple of hands. Thank you for coming off of mute. Cynthia said, I got to say something on that one. All right, right. So that's the negativity bias, right? We focus on the negative more than we do the positive. So by doing this exercise of hunting the good stuff every day, it only takes a couple minutes, it will build gratitude and it'll build your resilience. The problem is that a lot of us think that like people who are doing good or happy are always doing good and happy. And that's not the case. If you think of resilience like a cup, every time we have a setback, there's a spill out of that cup, okay? Everybody is spilling out the cup. Don't let social media fool you. Everybody is having setbacks all the time. Any of y'all had a setback this week? It's only Thursday. And y'all have some setbacks up, right? So what we want to do is pour into the cup so that when you have that spill, it doesn't break you. Because when that cup is empty, that's when you're at risk for suicide, depression, high anxiety. That's when you're at risk of endangering yourself or engaging in risky behavior, right? So we want to be pouring in. This is a guaranteed way. If you do this every day, you will become more resilient. And I know it seems small, but it's really important. And we do this with soldiers. When I'm in there with generals, lieutenant colonels, I say, General such and such, why don't you volunteer and hunt the good stuff for us? Okay, so it may seem like a small thing, but it's really important. Okay. Trying to move fast because I want to get through an exorbitant amount of information in a little bit of time. All right, next thing we're going to talk about. Well, I'm sorry. Does anybody have any questions on that? Or does everybody understand? We good? Simple practice. Will y'all give that a try for the next, when's y'all next class? Tuesday? Can y'all give that a try every day? You hunt the good stuff from now till Tuesday. And then tell Jahida, I did it. Put it in the chat on Tuesday when you drop your business name. Say, I did it. I hunted the good stuff. Or I forgot right after the call. I ain't did it one time. Oops. Right? Just give her an update for me. All right. So that's my ask on that. The next thing we're going to talk about, and this one is important, is this ATC model, responding versus reacting. ATC stands for activating event, thoughts, consequences. And so an activating event is like a trigger, a challenge, adversity, or a pause. Something happens. Basically, an activating event means something happens. Then there's a gap, and then there's your consequences or your reactions to what has happened, right? So that's ATC. And basically what we talk about when that, and again, all these are like really 2-3 hour trainings. I'm really just giving a piece of these, okay? But in the ATC model, what we talk about is we want you to respond to situations, not react to situations, okay? The difference is that when you respond, you are taking control. You are owning the power of how you're gonna respond versus the other person having the power or the situation having the power, and you just react. So let me give you an example. And again, I'm trying to be respectful of time because I know we got another awesome presenter here. Here's an example. Let's imagine that Tiffany and Bridget and Sandra are all on a train, okay? Now we ride in this train and there's a dad there and he's got 2 kids. They're like 6 and 7, little boy, little girl. The little girl is bad as all get out. Or let me do the trauma-informed care. The little girl is behaving badly as all get out, okay? I'm talking about not like a little, no, she is out of control, Bebe's kid style, okay? The little boy is literally reaching on your plate, trying to get some of the food that you eating while you trying to chill, okay? On this train. So Bridget just looks at the dad. She gives him that side eye because she's polite, but she's getting a little frustrated, right? Sandra gives the full neck turn, look him in the face, okay? And then Tiffany actually says, are you gonna do something about these kids, right? And so the father says, Tiffany, or Miss, I just don't know what to do. My wife just died. Our family's falling apart. We're driving across country to bury her ashes and stuff like that. And I just don't know what to do. So instantly, the whole mood changes, right? All of a sudden, Bridget is doing TikToks with the little girl, right? Sandra is giving the little boy pretzels out of her purse, right? Now the vibe is all loving and supportive, right? But what changed? Bebe's kids are still there. They still behaving in the same way. But what changed is how you are thinking about the situation. So use that kind of analogy as you think about your life. Like when you change how you think about a situation, it changes your energy, it changes how you respond, and it ultimately changes the outcome of the situation. Does that make sense? Is that a good example? Like, could y'all follow that? Because we do that a lot, right? Somebody cut you off in traffic, who flipping them the bird right off the gate? You don't even think about it. They cut you off. Thank you for that honesty, Keisha. So they cut you off, the hand is up, the horn is honking. You don't even think. But we have this amazing power, y'all, to think about the situation before we react, or before we respond. Now, your response might be the same, right? Somebody, somebody skips you at the post office. You may think, I probably really don't need to cuss this person out. But you know what? They're not finna just skip me, right? But you made a choice to then cuss them out. It didn't just happen. Does that make sense? Like, you have the power to choose how to respond, but most people don't use it. Most people are on autopilot. They just react to everything that's happening in life. And that leaves you feeling powerless. That leaves you not being the best version of yourself. And it leaves you missing out on a lot of opportunities. Okay, so we want you all to be the type of people who you respond. You take a minute, maybe it could be 10 seconds, and say, you know what, this is not worth it. Or you know what, I'm gonna try that, right? You take a moment to respond, not just react. Okay, so that's our ATC model, the activating events, thoughts, consequences. Somebody give me feedback on that. Lisa, I just saw your camera come on. Give me some feedback on that so I know that you understood what I just said.
Okay, you calling me out. Okay. Thank you for your service. I'm a fellow veteran myself, Army.
Who?
So, yes, well, definitely I'm gonna, that last example you used about, gotta make sure that I keep that in mind, because, sometimes with that road rage, it can turn out real ugly. So I'm gonna keep that in mind, because you're right, just because somebody does something to you, you don't have to react in a negative way. You could choose to, as they say, take the high road, or, turn the other cheek. It's hard sometimes, but in this day and age, it might be the difference between your life. So I thank you for that. And I'm really gonna take my time and take a deep breath and count to 10 when I need to. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And I'm sorry for calling on you, but I like to call on people. I told you I need the energy. All right, so check it out. So check it out. I'm gonna give y'all a real life example of what this looks like. Okay, because we gave a hypothetical example. I want y'all to know now this is me as a business owner. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a real example. I found this guy in the community bought 200 copies of my book, and he wanted to donate them to McKinley High School. This being recorded? All right, I don't care. So he wanted to donate them to McKinley High School. Okay, so I called the principal at McKinley. I said, hey, we got this guy want to donate these books. We're going to do a press conference, donate the book, blah, blah. The principal was like, oh, that's awesome. Let's do it. Our kids need this, right? And then they called Buffalo Public Schools central office. They say, this is what we're going to do. We got this donation. And they said, no. Because, I don't know if y'all noticed about me, but I do like parent advocacy stuff, and they don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, they're like, Duncan, no, we don't want his books. We don't want 200 books, all resilience for our kids. Click. All right. So they called me back and said, I'm sorry, the district said we don't want them. They're not going to receive the books. So I called the mayor.
Hell no.
I called the mayor. I say, hey, Mayor Brown, I got these 200 books we want to donate to some kids. You got any ideas? He said, can you donate them to our Mayor's Summer Youth Program? I said, sure. So I donated them to the Mayor's Summer Youth Program. Now, the old me would have got on Facebook and blasted the school district, right? I mean, the old me would have been reacting like, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? I just would have turned up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not that person no more. I respond now. I don't react. So I didn't do that. And because I partnered with the mayor, I used that press conference news video and I sent it to McDonald's, and they signed a contract to buy 1,000 copies of my book to donate to 4 high schools in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. And I'm doing press conferences with all their mayors in 4 different cities. So here's the point. I just wanted to give a real example. I mean, thank you. I mean, I love it. Thank you. God is good, blah, blah, blah.
Bless the Lord.
Come on. But I just wanted to give you an example of how I could have missed my opportunity, right? When the district said no, and I'm not attacking the district, that's their prerogative. I want them to succeed. I want them to win, okay? But when they said no, I could have been negative. I could have been angry, got on the radio, or I could have reacted. And what that would have did was made it a toxic situation. So then the mayor wouldn't have been able to receive them, which meant I wouldn't have ended up ultimately getting this incredible life-changing opportunity. Does that make sense, y'all? So that's why as business owners, you might have an angry customer who come in trying to act a fool or say you didn't do something. You can't react to everything. You have to take control, take the power, take a moment, and respond in a way that sets you up to succeed. Does that make sense? Like, do you understand why we talk about that now? Okay, cool. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is thinking traps. So thinking traps is one of my favorite things to talk about because we all do this. Thinking traps are broken thought patterns that create negativity or blame for situations that cause us to miss important information. So the thinking trap, if we go back to the ATC model, once the activating event happens, in the middle is our thoughts. That's where we take the power, then we respond, okay? But if we have a thinking trap, it's like a wall right here before it gets to our thoughts. So we don't even get to think about what's really going on. We miss critical information because we got like a wall before the thoughts, okay? So let me give you an example of a thinking trap. The first one is jumping to conclusions, which is believing that you know the outcome of a situation with little or no evidence to support it, and then reacting to it, okay? Jumping to conclusions is one of the most dangerous things that we can do, right? Because number one, it's not healthy, but number two, we actually react to the made up world that we created. Let me tell y'all what I mean. Have any of y'all ever had a significant other and they ain't answering the phone when you call? Now they supposed to be answering the phone, right? They should be at home doing nothing. But you call it and they not answering. Then you text them. They don't text back. You call again. It goes to voicemail. What? You sent me to voicemail, right? So our mind immediately starts jumping to conclusions. Rose, have you ever been there? Come on, thank you. Right. So we start thinking, oh, they must be. Then we get on their social media, right? Start look, well, let me see if they posted, right? All this type of stuff. That's jumping to conclusions. Here's why that's so bad. All that time we're wasting and energy we wasting on this made up reality, right? We are missing the real moments of life. So when our kid comes around, we angry. We don't got time or energy for our kid because we so frustrated with this person not answering the phone, right? When there's a job opportunity we see on LinkedIn, we don't even really pay attention to it because our mind is focused on what this person is doing. Does that make sense? Like we miss critical information. More importantly, we are reacting to a reality that we just totally made up. We have no evidence to support this. We just reacting to stuff. So for example, in the business sense, and I'm trying to connect it to you all because you're business owners, right? 43 North has a competition, okay? You jump to the conclusion that my business ain't good enough, right? I'm not big enough. I don't got all my stuff together enough, so I'm not even gonna apply to their $30,000 grant competition, right? We just jumped to a conclusion, and based on this made up world, we are reacting, and our reaction is, I'm not gonna even try. That's like so unhealthy. Can y'all relate to that? Like, do y'all understand? Like, that's so unhealthy. And as business owners, we a lot of times do feel like that. Like, it's the same people getting the awards, the same people getting on the news, the same people getting these grants. Like, why it can't be me? Why don't I get an opportunity? You know what I mean? Like, or I can, no. They getting it because they, even though they don't think they can get it, or even though they're nervous or scared, they do it anyway. They apply anyway. And so as business owners, we can't be jumping to conclusions, especially negative ones, right? When we're trying to grow and build our business. All right. So the next thinking trap is mind reading. All right. Mind reading is equally as dangerous and as destructive as jumping to conclusions. It's assuming that you know what the other person is thinking or expecting them to know what you are thinking. Now, this one, listen, y'all, of all the thinking traps, this is the one I had to struggle with, okay? Thinking that other people know what I'm thinking, or assuming that I know what they're thinking. Okay, now I'm not gonna go real down deep in the rabbit hole of this, but mind reading is very, very toxic. And the way that you kind of break that thinking trap is to speak your truth, right? So don't assume people know what you want or what you need or how to support you. Speak your truth. So let me tell you what I mean. You know how people get on Facebook and say, people will go to other cities and support businesses, but they don't support Black businesses right here in our hometown. Or people supposed to be my friends, they don't even support my business. I know y'all don't see, if you ain't posted it, you've seen a post like that, right? That's mind reading. That you are assuming that other people are seeing your post and saying, I'm not gonna like, share, comment, buy their stuff. You're assuming that they know that you need support. You're assuming that you know that they want what you sell, right? And you reacting to this made up reality. So the way that you fix that is you speak your truth. You say, hey, friends, will you support me? Buy this product. You will be surprised that if you did that tonight, you will get at least 2 sales tonight. If you post on Facebook tonight, friends, will you support my product? Here's the link. I need 2 purchases tonight. 100% you will get 2 purchases tonight. Okay? And I know that's true because I be doing it all the time. I'll be on Facebook. Hey, I need 5 people to buy a book for 5 kids. Bam, got 15 people. All right. So I know that like, so don't assume. And the second is ask questions, right? So speak your truth. Don't assume people know what you need. And then ask questions. Don't assume you know what other people are thinking. That's how you break out of those thinking traps. Okay. Questions. Everybody got good on those? Thumbs up. I see some thumbs. Okay. So the last thing we're going to talk about in relationship to resilience, because I want to make sure we have time for our other presenter, even though I got like a ton of slides left.
Are you still taking questions?
Oh yeah, who got a question? Come on, give it to me.
Okay, so, or I guess a comment maybe, but I think what you're saying is so important because certainly with social media, we think people have seen whatever it is we're advertising. And I'm learning that maybe it's because of the algorithms or whatever. Some people almost never see what you think they see. And then if you send them a personal comment or ask them, they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know about it. And you're like, what? That's been everywhere. So I think that is so important what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh listen, I'm not going. I really want to go down that rabbit hole and explain to y'all how social media actually works. But that'd have to be another workshop for another time. I'm sure Yasmin is going to cover something on it. She gave me the head nod, so she going to cover it. But if y'all need me, let me tell you, only about, if you, just say you got 2,000 Facebook friends, right? Only about 30 of them is probably seeing your posts. Okay, so you thinking I got 2,000 friends, I'm gonna put this out there. Only like 30 of them is seeing your posts. It's like a whole bunch of tricks I can teach y'all about how to sneak and beat the algorithm and get engaged. That's why when people argue on my posts, sometimes I just post controversial stuff so people will argue and it'll boost up my algorithm and it'll drive more content to my pages and stuff. I got like all type of tricks, but that's for another day. I'd be happy to talk to y'all about that. Talk to Adam and Jahida if y'all want to bring me in, but I'm sure Yasmin, I thought I saw branding and marketing and stuff, so I'm sure she's gonna make it happen. But thank you. Okay, I just gotta move on because that's what you just said is so real, y'all. Like social media can be such a powerful tool, but you gotta like know how to use it, right? And a lot of times we don't. Like they don't really have a lot of classes on it that we are looking out. But I'm telling y'all, it works. Okay, moving on. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is ego. Somebody pitching me a business idea in the direct messages right now. So that, let me tell you, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you make it right there. I appreciate that. And I do need to have my book translated into Spanish. So I'm gonna get back with you on that. Okay, sorry, she threw me off. All right. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is ego. So I need a volunteer for this section. Somebody who is brave, with good energy, ready to roll. I'm gonna just call on somebody if I need to, because y'all know I don't got no problem doing it. Destiny, because that's my daughter's name. Come on from you.
Okay.
Oh wait, we have somebody raise their hand. Oh, you got saved. Ali Lawrence raised their hand. Oh, okay.
Next time.
Next time, okay. Don't worry, I got more examples, so don't worry. Okay, so I want you to answer this question for me, Miss Lawrence.
Okay.
Who are you? I am, bam, give it to me. Who are you?
I am a chef, artist, creative, seeker of the universe.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So first, thank you for volunteering. I really appreciate that. I love when people just like, oh, I volunteer. That's awesome. However, am I like going in slow motion? I'm looking at my video and it's kind of like blurry.
There is a bit of a lag on your video, but your audio is still good.
Okay. All right. So you're wrong. That's not who you are, Ms. Lawrence.
That's not who I am.
No.
Okay.
Now, I need another. So let's go over to Destiny. Go back on mute, Ms. Lawrence. I'm gonna come back to you. Stay with me, y'all. Destiny,
Yes.
who are you?
I am Destiny. I am a woman. I am a student. I am a daughter. I am a business owner.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so thank you. You wrong too, though. You right along with her. Wrong is all get out. Now listen, don't feel bad though, because when I first went through this exercise, I was asked the question, and I did the same thing y'all did, literally the same way. So I did what Miss Lawrence did. I gave my resume. I'm this. I'm an activist. I got a master's degree. I'm a soldier. You know, I went through the whole shebang, right? It's like, wrong, Duncan. That's not who you are. I said, okay. You want to get deep? Let's do it. I'm a son. I am a Black man. I come from kings. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a child of God. I take like all of that. And they're like, wrong again. I'm like, I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm going to get it. Like, wrong again. And I'm like, well, who am I? Right? Is that where anybody is kind of feeling at that moment, at this moment? Like, okay, well, if I'm not those things, who am I? Right? Perfect. That's where I want you to be. Right? That's where I want you to be. Because the first step is realizing that you're not them things. Don't worry, stay with me. I know some of y'all confused. Just stay with me for a second, okay? All those things you all named are important, and they're great things to have, and great titles, and they're great roles that you play, and this great work that you do. So I'm not saying those things aren't valuable and special and amazing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying your level of amazingness, awesomeness, is so much more than those titles and those roles. So let me break it down for you right here. Do y'all remember, y'all all, ain't nobody too much younger than me, but so most of y'all are my age or a little older. When y'all were young, do y'all remember how many planets there were? When they taught us in school how many planets there were? How many planets were there when we were in school, y'all? Somebody come off mute and tell me.
9.
That's right. Well, apparently now they teach children that there are only 8 planets. Pluto has been declassified from a planet to a dwarf planet. So Pluto is no longer classified as a planet. So they teach kids that there are 8 planets. All right. Now, here's my question. When they declassified Pluto from a planet to a dwarf planet, to a moon, back to a dwarf planet, right? What did we change about Pluto?
Nothing.
Nothing.
The name.
We changed our name for Pluto, but we didn't change nothing about Pluto, right? Okay, so just stay with me. Just hang tight. I know I'm getting real earthy on y'all, but just hang tight. This is part. It'll come together. Just stay with me, y'all. All right. So this is a tree. Okay. So let's imagine that you are standing next to this tree. Can everybody put their hand on the table, on the wall, whatever you need, or put your hand on something firm so we can pretend that you are standing next to this tree with your hand on the tree. Okay, so you're standing there with your hand on the tree. Let's say Lil Wayne shows up to this tree. You standing there with your hand on the tree, and he's taking selfies with the tree. What changed about the aliveness of this tree with your hand on it when Lil Wayne showed up? Nothing, right? Okay, so okay, yeah, everybody not a Lil Wayne fan. Barack Obama shows up at the tree. Him and Michelle step out the limo. You know what I'm saying? They looking all super fly. He's doing the Obama wave. What changed about that the aliveness of this tree when Obama showed up? Nothing. Okay. How about, let me think of another example. Governor Cuomo shows up. And he says, I'm going to give this tree an honorary doctorate, staples a doctorate degree on the tree. Okay, a Lamborghini pulls up next to the tree, right? We give the tree an honorary degree from Oxford. Your hand on that tree, what changed about the aliveness of that tree when all of those things happen? Nothing, right? Nothing changed. So now think about yourself. You get a master's degree. You get a PhD, or you drop out of high school. What is different about your aliveness? What makes you alive when you get a new title? Right? You get a promotion. You start a business. Somebody gives you a name. Somebody changes your name. Right? You get married. Your name changes. What changed about you? Your connection to the universe, to God, to the Creator, whatever language you want to use. Right? What changes about you when we change your title or your role or buy you stuff? Nothing. So I'm not saying don't buy nice stuff. Listen, I like nice stuff. Yeah, my wife be on these calls. She's going through the she means, but she like nice stuff. All right. So I'm not knocking buying nice stuff, getting degrees, starting businesses. That's awesome. I'm saying don't connect your value as a person to things and titles and roles. Okay. This is super important because it's how we deal. The reason we don't try stuff or the ways we deal with failure is because we associate our value with winning, looking pretty, looking perfect, having the greatest life, having lots of money and lots of stuff, vacationing, all of these things. We tie our value as people to these things. So if Adam's value is connected to his title, and I say, you know what, Adam, you did that wrong at this event. Well, Adam won't take that as, you know what, I could do it different next time. It's just a criticism. If his value is connected to his title, if I challenge his title, he's going to feel personally attacked. Y'all ever met somebody who at work where you say, hey, I have a different idea, or I don't think that's the best idea, and they feel personally attacked? They lash out like you cursed them out, right? That's because they're connected, their value, they identify who they are with their title, with their role. And that's unhealthy. And as business leaders, as people, you want joy in life. You want peace in life. Have nice stuff. Go for stuff. Work great jobs. Make all the money you can, right? Have a great life situation. But know that who you are is so much better, bigger, deeper than all of the things, right? The shirts that you acquire or the different colored shoes, or, you know, if your business is in a storefront or in a warehouse, like, those things are great, but who you are is just so much more. And once you start to unpack the layers of who you really are, right, you'll start to like not care so much about the rat race, right? And the crazy thing is, the more you find out who you are, the better you do in the rat race, right? So the less you're concerned about what do they think of me and how am I going to buy this, or right, all of this stuff, the less that you care about all that, and the more you kind of learn who you are, the actual more you rise in business and life and opportunities, right? Because there's like a light that you'll exude. Okay, so I'm going to pause there because I want to be respectful to the other presenter. And I want to leave the space for any questions or feedback before I shut it down. I see Rose has her hand up. Come on, give it to me. You got to come off mute.
I'm off mute. So you was talking about separate yourself from the materialistic things, but I kind of get it, but then I don't get it because you're like, this is not you. But like in the midst of doing those things, you kind of find who you are.
So let me ask you, Rose, have you ever been to the beach?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you know how when you're on the beach, you take your shoes off, the sand is hot, so you kind of tiptoe walk into the edge of the water where the sand gets a little dark brown, right?
Yes.
And your feet sink just a little into that wet sand, right? Mm-hmm. And that first moment when the water rushes across your ankles, right? In that moment, are you thinking about your life situation? Your bills, you know, your cousin, the drama on Facebook. In that moment, at least for a moment, you are totally at peace, right? You're not identified with anything. You're not connected to anything except yourself. You're just being. It's like the moment that monks call it nirvana, right? It's like Buddhists say that like when you on your deathbed, you don't think about all the stuff you could have bought or working 10 more hours at the factory or whatever. You think about spending more time with your family, never having given up on your dreams, right? You think about all the things that really matter. So you want to have that moment of the things that really matter, and those are the priority while you're young enough to do something about it. So buy nice stuff, right? You like to go shooting, go to the shooting range. You like to work out, go to the gym. I'm not saying don't do none of that stuff. I'm saying if you lose something, right, your business gets closed down, a piece of you didn't die.
No, I get that. I'm talking about more of the aspect of you was like, I'm a mom. And you was like, they told you that you wasn't a mom. Like, well, me being a mom helped me become who I am, you know what I'm saying? Like being a mother, being a child of God, you know what I'm saying? Like those are parts of me, you know what I'm saying? Being a child of God has given me the opportunity to connect with my universe so I can be at peace, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, the connection that you have with your children or your child is something that's unmatched, right? Like there's just that just helps you develop as a person, grow. Like all these good things come from that. I mean, and some bad stuff because you know kids be crazy, but
yeah,
like,
definitely.
Right, but you grew as a person in motherhood, right?
Yes.
So let's go back to the tree example. Let's say your hand is still on the tree, okay? 5 leaves fall off the tree, right? You stand there for 2 years. Them leaves and those seeds that fell off the tree, they turn into little trees, okay? Your hand's still on this tree. The aliveness of this tree didn't change though.
No.
So with you, yes, having kids is important. I got 3 kids, all middle school, so y'all pray for me, right?
Yeah.
But you know, the aliveness of you doesn't change because you have a kid. Like, it's important, and it's like probably the most important role you can have in life is being a parent, and probably the most rewarding thing, right? But I'm saying you are more than that. And put it like this: if you at a point where you're like, listen, Duncan, if I ain't this, who am I? Right? You're like, who the hell am I if I'm not these things, right? So
exactly.
Thank you. That's a perfect place for you to be at, right? Because in order for you to discover who you are, the first step is going from I think I'm something that I'm not to I don't know who I am to then you can start to learn who you are. So you got to unlearn, because media, marketing, and branding will tell you your whole value as a woman is a mom. For like 3,000-4,000 years on this planet, if you were a mom, that was your only value as a human, right? They just made women bear children, and that's all y'all do for thousands of years. But that was wrong. Like, that was just wrong, right? Bearing children is important, but you all are so much more than that, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so bearing children is still important, but you all are so much more and have always been more. So what I'm saying is everything marketing, media, branding will always drive you to like be insecure, connect to things. Think your life will be better if you bought this, if you did this, if you got this degree, if you did that. And yeah, your life situation will be better, but it's a lot of rich people, master's degree people, PhD, doctorate, rich, whatever, who's sad, depressed, lonely, and commit suicide.
Yes.
So things, and guess what? Most of them is parents. Things, titles, and roles, they are all important, but you got to know that who you are is just more than that. So I got to stop there because I got to leave time for other presenter. But I want you, listen, if you got more questions, connect with me on social media. You know what I'm saying?
We're already friends on social media, so.
Okay, well, we can have a longer discussion. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up. I would love to talk more. I got like a bunch of books I can refer to you and everything. So was this helpful for anybody? Anybody at least hear one thing that was like, okay, that's going to help me on my journey? Okay, awesome. So what I would ask for you, I'm doing a giveaway. Let me see. I'm giving away a copy of my book. All right. So what I need you to do on my website, DuncanKirkwood.com, Jahida, can you drop that in the chat for me? DuncanKirkwood.com. Okay. If you go to my website, you scroll to the bottom, my logo is at the bottom. You click that, you leave a testimony. I'm going to pick somebody tonight and I'm going to mail them. I'm going to reach out to you and then get you a free book. Okay. So leave a testimony. Don't get off now though, because you got another awesome presenter. After that, go to the website, go to the bottom, click it, click the logo, leave us a testimony, and that'll be helpful for me. And you might win a free book tonight. I'm gonna sign in. I got a little dog tag that goes in, bookmarks, like a whole deal. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for your attention and your energy.
Thank you so much, Duncan. As always, that was incredible. I'm sure everyone is super pumped up. Definitely check out Duncan's website, follow him on social media. This man is like the Energizer Bunny, never stops. So like if you're looking for someone to really like amp you up, he's definitely one of those people that's gonna do it. So now we're gonna ease into the next presentation. Alivia, are you there still? She's around here somewhere. All right, I hear her. So the next presentation is gonna be given by Alivia Ruiz, and go ahead, take it away.
All right. So here, can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And hold on one moment. I'm going to try and keep that chat open. All right. So what I am going to have everyone do to respond in this case is you can either type in the chat or you can say out loud. You can just do popcorn style. So whoever pops it out first, it's all right. And I wanted to make sure that everyone has the resources available to them that they were sent for the class. For the first few questions, I'm going to be referring to page 12 and 13 of those resources. So let me know if anyone didn't receive those.
I don't believe they got it, Olivia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right. So in that case, we're just gonna see what comes up for y'all and do some intuitive answering of these questions. All right. So my name is Alivia Ruiz, and I am going to be teaching the second part of this course, and my section is called The Courage to Heal. And I just want to say a few things before I get started. I wanted to acknowledge that if you identify as a Black or Indigenous person of culture, it takes courage just to show up in this country and in this world. So I don't want you to feel pressured to heal at a pace that's faster for you, or even pursue healing in a heavy way. You know, life is really intense for y'all. So I just wanted to make sure to acknowledge that. And then by a show of hands, how many parents do we have here? Parents.
Here.
Hands. Yep. I know there were some, or that last conversation was all about being a mother. I want to say to you that you are doing the best you can with what you have from where you are, and you deserve an incredible amount of patience and grace. And I want to warn that this could be kind of a triggering presentation for the parents, and that you're doing what you can in the often very confusing and very difficult task of raising children right now. So I wanted to let y'all know that too. And then lastly, anything I say is not, it's not concrete law. I would really encourage you to look into the things that I talk about and take what resonates for you and leave the rest. And I think that's something that we're blessed to do here. We're all weavers of our own experience, and that we are able to take the things that actually enhance our lives. Things that might not work for someone else might work for us, and vice versa. So feel free to leave things that don't resonate with you in this presentation. So I am a completion process certified practitioner. And the completion process is a trauma resolution technique invented by a woman named Teal Swan. In this presentation, I'll be going over the basic knowledge and techniques you can use to begin resolving your trauma today. And I want to thank Duncan so much for helping us understand the tools of moving forward, of being resilient, of pivoting, of responding and not reacting. And my presentation today is going over those things that seem to be really, really stuck, really, really solidified, or stuck in those reactions instead of responses. And I often find that in my own life, absolutely gratitude has helped me to move forward and pausing to respond. And at the same time, I've also found that some of my traumas, my deeper traumas, really are really cemented in there, and I've had to use different techniques to help me be able to not react as intensely. But again, it's just different ways of learning how to be your best self. So whatever works, please incorporate that and research more about it. So we're going to go into the story of Mira to demonstrate how we can start resolving trauma and how trauma works and what happens to initiate trauma. So Mira is a 5-year-old girl. She is mostly spending time with her mother, but she also goes to daycare. She often experiences emotions such as joy, wonder, trust, eagerness, and empowerment. And she often feels sensations in her body that accompany these emotions, such as warmth, tingling, expansiveness, softness, and lightness. And I mentioned that she spends a lot of time with her mother, and her father is a teacher during the day and then is finishing up university during the evenings, and she only sees him very shortly before she goes to bed. So most of her life is spent between spending time with her mother and spending time with her friends. Now, for a new experience comes into her life, which is that one day, after coming home from daycare, she sees her father, and she's really surprised because he's usually gone in the evenings and she's spending time with her mom. But her mom has got a new job. She'll be now working evenings, and her father's done with university, and she's going to be spending time with her and watching out for her now during the evenings. What emotions might Mira be experiencing? Anyone can popcorn. This is a new experience for her being with her father. What kind of emotions might she be experiencing? So I'm going to put one out there. Excitement.
Anxious.
Anxious. Yep. I see doubt, scared, joy, scared.
Fear.
Yep. Excited, beautiful. And Jahira, I just saw your message. Thank you so much. And yes, so the resources, these two lists, the emotions and sensations, are on page 12 and 13. And I see another response: uncertain, confusion, or worried about when mom is coming back. Fear. Yep, absolutely. And what sensations might Mira be feeling?
Like a high, like a high tingly type sensation. I don't know, like a jittery sensation, like, you know.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Yep, I see tingling, anxiety, heart racing, shivers, cold, all great answers. Now, as we move on in this story, Mira's father is actually unable to meet her needs concerning her energy and her need to play and explore and interact. What's happened with Mira's father is that he's a school teacher by day, and he just wants to come home and relax. He is expending a lot of energy during the day. Mira's father also had a really cold and distant mother. So he was not taught how to be patient or compassionate, and is not able to give that to Mira. So often Mira's bids for attention, for play, for interaction are ignored, or she's just told to, be quiet, or please go play in the other room. Yeah, Tiffany says he's fatigued and doesn't know how to raise a child. Yes. So one day, Mira decides to take initiative. She doesn't want to give up on her ability to explore, to experience new things. She still has a lot of energy. So she decides to try out what it's like to cook. So she grabs a pan, she grabs some eggs, and she gets cracking. And she makes a bit of a mess with eggs on the floor, eggs on the pan, eggs on herself. Here's another new experience for Mira. Her dad walks in and sees this mess, and he is furious. He's the most mad she has ever experienced him. So when he sees her, he grabs her, drags her to the bathroom, starts taking off her clothes without consent. Her consent, start to wash her off and run a bath. Anytime she tries to explain herself, he yells at her to be quiet. Anytime she tries to wrench her hand away from him, he grabs on tighter. Anytime she starts crying, he says, "Stop crying." So in this situation, what emotions might Mira be experiencing?
Fear.
Fear, absolutely. I see scared, dread, yep, definitely. Violated, confusion, confused, yes. Anger, absolutely. Resentment, yes. Powerlessness, all really good answers. And what sensations might Mira be feeling?
Numb.
Numb, yes. Heavy. Heavy is a great, yeah, that's a great answer. That's a great description word. Yep. Shaking. Yep. All right. So what Mira has experienced in that moment is a moment of trauma. She's experienced trauma. Any experience, and trauma can be explained as any experience that is too much, too soon, too fast, or too little or too late. It can be any event that caused emotional overwhelm with no ability to defend yourself, no resolution, no repair, or the lack of all three. And now there's an important distinction to make between big T trauma versus little t trauma. So big T trauma is what Mira has experienced in this situation. So it's trauma that's usually associated with a singular, very overwhelming event. Little t trauma is usually associated with many smaller events over a period of time. So even if her father hadn't had this big reaction to her making a mess, even if he had ignored her over time, she would have learned over time that asking for her needs doesn't lead to anything. And that is actually little t trauma is what is responsible for complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's something that unfortunately I can't go into tonight, but please contact me if you want to talk more. So with trauma, whether it's big T or little t, something called fragmentation can happen. So we are naturally made of multiplicities, and that's something that Dr. Richard Schwartz realized in his work with internal family systems, that we have different parts of ourselves. So maybe we have a part of ourselves that really loves poetry, and then we have a part of ourselves that really loves to organize. Now these parts aren't the same, but they usually act in harmony with one another, so that when our creative impulses come up, poetry can be written and this part comes out and expresses itself. And then when we see that we need to clean up, the part that wants to organize comes out and it comes in its greatest power and helps us out in our lives. But with fragmentation that's caused by trauma, what ends up happening is that multiplicities are created that are in conflict with one another and sometimes aren't even aware of each other. So here are some of the effects of fragmentation. And this is how fragmentation works, a deeper look into how that works. So we have the conscious and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is easily accessible. It's usually in the brain, it's thinking, it's responsive. And the subconscious lives in the body, it's reactive, and it's very unconscious. We don't think about it. So what ends up happening when that moment of fragmentation occurs is that two parts of Mira are now created. One part that keeps Mira safe, and then the part that takes initiative is exiled to the subconscious. And this helps keep Mira safe because her conscious mind can no longer access that part that got her in trouble. And this fragment can exist along with the memory and the sensations. So sometimes the memory and sensations can stay in the conscious mind, but most of the time the memory and the sensations are exiled along with that part into the subconscious mind so that we can kind of function in our day-to-day life and not have to constantly be thinking about this situation that happened that we had no resolution for. So this part, what will end up happening with this part is that it will continue to stay in an inner child mode, even though Mira grows up. So this is the split, and the split usually happens where it's like an inner twin situation. So there's two parts that are in conflict with each other, but it can also happen that there are multiple parts that end up in conflict with each other and are kind of in this system to help keep Mira safe. So in this instance, the one that helps her, that's kind of in charge of keeping her safe, is the one that has the belief now it's safer to just do what we're told. And then the part that's exiled is the one that wants to explore. Now this situation happens, this fragmentation happens very subconsciously. So it's not really something that we have a lot of choice over in the moment of trauma, and especially when we're young, because we are feeling sensing beings, not so much thinking sensing beings. So we can't really think our way through these situations, these traumatic situations. Now, ancestral trauma is when these inner children aren't integrated, they aren't brought back into our awareness for the duration of our lives, and then we have children, and we can actually pass on that behavior to our children, and it can keep going and going and going. And if you want to learn more about this, you can look into The Body Keeps the Score and Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGroy. And then The Body Keeps the Score is by Bessel van der Kolk. Very informative, very good books. So if we go to Mira, fast forward to Mira in her adulthood, Mira is made project lead at work. This means that she's going to have a lot of responsibilities. So she's going to be having to take a lot of initiative. She's going to be affecting a lot of people with her choices. And so she sits down, she's ready to project plan, and all of a sudden she's frozen. She's frozen, she's shaking, she doesn't know what to do. I can see the comment. Can you please place these books in the chat? They are in your resources, your resources PDF. And I can tell you the specific pages shortly, and hopefully I can do that shortly before our time is up. Yes, beautiful. So she's sitting down, she's experiencing freeze, she's experiencing shaking, she doesn't know what's happening to her. She can't remember what happened to inspire these reactions, and she's kind of flabbergasted because she's just sitting at her computer. It's very calm. Nothing extreme is happening around her. So, she's like, what is happening? So Mira is experiencing a trigger. And I wonder if anybody has their own definition or experience of a trigger that they'd like to share briefly with us. No pressure. Smells, music, taste. I'm sorry, who is that on the, who I heard just now? Yelling. Yep, and I see hands raised too. And again, no pressure to share if you don't want to. This is just me. Whoever is speaking, it's really hard to hear. You're kind of muddled. I'm so sorry. Okay, yelling, loud noises, smoking, certain phrases. Yep, these are all things that like brought you back into that that memory or that sensation. Yep.
Cherise, sorry, did you have a question? I see your hands up.
Not a question, just a trigger. A trigger for me is when I'm being talked to like I'm a little kid. It reverts back to, things that happened in the past.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing and your vulnerability and sharing that. Yeah. So a way that we can define triggers in this context, just a simple way to contextualize that is a trauma response inspired by outside events or stimuli. And also triggers can be the actual stimuli and used to refer to the actual stimuli. But in this case, we're talking about both the response and the stimuli. So it usually involves intense sensations and can involve emotions such as anger, grief, sadness, etc. And triggers can actually act as portals to our personal and ancestral trauma, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So healing our personal and ancestral trauma is the key to making space for new reactions and habits. And again, what Duncan talked about definitely works. You can use new habits over time to overlay these old programs. But again, there can be some really, really deep programs because of intense trauma that can be really solidified. And this process can really help with those types of situations. So a simple definition of healing that I really like to use with this work is to experience the opposite. And this is a definition that I got from the person that trained me in this process. Her name was Teal Swan. So in inner child healing, if we use this definition to experience the opposite, if we use this definition of healing, and we come back to Mira, if Mira's original wounding was being ignored, pushed away, and punished, what experience does her inner child need to begin healing? Listen to, I see, yep. Acknowledgement, absolutely. Affirmation, confirmation, love. She needs to be heard. An apology, yep. To be heard, accepted, and affirmed, absolutely. Yes. Yes, all good answers. So those are all amazing answers. And at the root of all of those is presence. So the most important need of our inner children is presence, focused unconditional attention, so that we can learn about what these parts of ourselves actually need. Our inner children don't need to change to deserve our attention. They have something important to tell us exactly as they are. And this is some experienced advice on presence. This is from the book My Grandmother's Hands by Resmaa Menakem, and that is also mentioned in your resources. So what he says is, in addressing trauma, each of us needs to work through it slowly over time. We need to understand our body's process of connection and settling. We need to ground ourselves, touch the pain or discomfort inside our trauma, and explore it gently. This requires building a tolerance for bodily and emotional discomfort and learning to stay present with, rather than trying to flee the discomfort. Only then can growth and change occur. So some needs around holding presence could be alone time, a quiet space, a warm drink, a blanket, comfy clothes, soft music, comforting words, darkness, incense, laying down, sitting up, food. And I'm wondering if anyone else can think of things that they might need to really hold presence if they find themselves in a really intense trigger. Creating something, painting, poetry, art, prayer, praying. Beautiful answer, yes, yep. Meditation, yes, yep. Driving alone, walking in nature, watching the sky. Oh, those are wonderful. Those are ones that I love as well. Yes. Yeah, those are all beautiful answers. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so when we hold presence, we can also incorporate, and I believe someone said in this chat already, affirmations. And some affirmations that can really help us with comforting this trigger, which is our inner child reaching out for help and attention. You can say, I'm here with you now. You deserve to be understood. You have every right to be here. I'm not going anywhere. And you can really just expand on those affirmations as much as you'd like. And this is some things that you might experience while holding presence. So one of the things that I experienced when I first started holding presence for some really deep triggers during situations that just seemed to come up over and over again and just out of nowhere, I was falling asleep. So I'd hold presence for a little while and I'd find myself falling asleep. And then I'd pick another time and I'd fall asleep. And it's just your body trying to keep you safe from a really intense memory. So let it happen. Just keep holding presence, even just with the body bringing you into sleep. And eventually what happened for me is that I held presence for days and just, periodically held presence, and all of a sudden had a memory flash up and, held myself in that memory and let myself sort of play out that memory in a different way, which we'll talk about a little bit later in these slides as well. But you can also experience shifting sensations. So you might start some, uncomfortableness or heaviness in your heart. It might shift down to your stomach. It might shift over to your arm. That's also really normal. You also might experience shaking. Shaking is an amazing thing to experience when you're doing this. It means that the trauma is actually spontaneously sort of clearing from your body. There's actually exercises that induce shaking on purpose for this purpose. You can experience spontaneous crying. You can also experience pain. I've experienced some pretty intense like back pain after experiencing a trigger and really going into it. What I really want to make sure to advise you of is that if you are experiencing pain that you feel is too overwhelming, just it's not something that you can handle, I'd advise you to stop immediately, go drink some water, take a walk. And you can also do a really, really simple exercise for relaxation. And that's breathing in and then breathing out longer than you breathe in. And that will automatically induce relaxation in the body. You can also employ something called circular breathing. And what that is that you don't take pauses at the end of the inhale or at the end of the exhale. And this also allows for the trauma to kind of have a chance to work through. When we pause our breathing, it pauses the function of our body. It pauses the oxygen moving through our body. So our cells really need that to be able to sort of purge these things. And this is a presence practice. And I think, unfortunately, due to time, we're going to not do this today, but I really encourage you to do this practice on your own. And this is a shortened version of a practice in the book, My Grandmother's Hands by Resmaa Menakem. He has so many other practices in that book that are really amazing for processing trauma and for processing as a community as well. But what he recommends is that for 2 minutes, you really sit and you visualize and try to feel into a person, place, thing, sensation that helps you to feel safe. So maybe there's a dog or even like a stuffed animal that you're able to hug, or there's another person with you, or if that person's not with you, you can imagine what it's like to hug them or to be around them. And you sit in that sensation for 2 minutes. And then after that, you go into the thing that's really causing you a lot of discomfort, the thing you're struggling with, and you really sit with it and hold presence for any of the discomfort, physical or emotional, that comes up. And you can time that, or you can kind of just let it flow the way it needs to flow. But when you feel that you kind of need to come back into a safety space, you can then bookend that safety at the end of the discomfort, go back into visualizing what it's like to be around or in or experiencing the things that make you feel safe. So if we go back to the idea of triggers being a portal, often what can happen when you hold presence for these triggers, for these sensations and emotions just as they are, what can happen is that trigger opens up and there can be more emotions, more sensations, and memories. And we want to keep in mind that we don't have to recover memories to be able to move through this trauma or resolve this trauma, because sometimes trauma can happen before we even are able to associate a visual memory with it or associate a sound with it. It might be a totally non-verbal, non-visual situation or trauma that comes up. So if you don't get any memories, that's not a failing on your part. And again, the most important need is presence, and just holding presence can initiate healing and sustain healing over time. Now, when these memories come up or other intense sensations come up, as we're exploring our triggers, we can engage in catharsis, which I highly, highly recommend. And catharsis is the purging of intense repressed emotions. So you can ask your inner child, what do you need more than anything right now? And this is something I really like to do when memories do come up. So we can, ask our inner child that, and they can say, I really need a hug, or I need to wiggle and jump uncontrollably. And we can do that in our physical, grown-up bodies right here and now to help that inner child feel like it's getting its needs met. We might need to punch a pillow, act out a protective response, journal an angry letter, scream out loud or in a pillow, imagine a different outcome, or all of this list. So I'm gonna give a few minutes just for y'all to let me know if there's anything that you find really really important or really helpful when you're feeling these intense emotions? Are there any things that help you to engage in catharsis that you'd like to share? And again, no pressure whatsoever to share. Crying, yep. Yelling, yes. Yelling has been so helpful for me this year. Music, absolutely, yep. Yes. Reading. Reading's beautiful, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. So we are at the end of our presentation, and I'm going to give a short quiz. And I wanted to ask, what is a simple way to describe trauma? Too much, too fast, or too little, too late? Absolutely. Yes. And Tiffany, I am so inspired by your answer about reading your angry letter to your mom at spoken word. That's incredible. All right, now question number 2. Should we rush our inner children to show us a memory? I'm seeing shaking heads, no. Yes. Great, great answer. Absolutely. Because rushing our inner children to show us a memory could actually be re-traumatizing. So we do not want to do that. Question 3, what is the #1 need of our inner children? Presence, presence, yes. Yes, perfect, precisely. All right, that's all I have for y'all today. I wanted to also give y'all a offer tonight. I'd like to offer a 50% discounted completion process session to the students of She Means Business. To access this offer, you can go to earthandemotion.com. And how I like to initiate taking on completion process clients is that we do a discovery session so that we can really understand your struggles. The discovery session is completely free, 30 minutes. There is a scheduling button at the close to the bottom of that site where you can schedule a discovery session with me. Usually it's $100 for 3 hours for the actual session. So y'all would get $50 session, 3 hours, and for the completion process. Again, I just want to make sure to say we're going to do a discovery session, and if that if I realize that maybe I won't be able to hold the presence that you deserve, I'll decline being your facilitator and help you find a facilitator that will work for you. I just really don't want to play around with ancestral or ancestral or personal trauma. I really want to make sure that you get the presence that you deserve. So that's another reason why I do the discovery call, just to make sure that that I can meet you appropriately. So that's all I have. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much for sharing, for your vulnerability. And I really, really wish you a lot of healing. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alivia. Ladies, this was great. I see a lot of action happening in the chat here. We really appreciate all of your feedback, your comments, your willingness to kind of just be open and present. We know it's a journey, right? It's not a, what's that saying? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I don't know. Adam always helps me out with the sayings because I'm terrible at them. But in any event, it's
you're good. You're right.
Hey, there he is. So in any event, you know, it's something that you really you want to take some time for yourself and discover who you are, right? That kind of goes back to what Duncan was talking about earlier. Especially as business owners, you want to make sure that you yourself are kind of stable, because, you know, if you're stable, then that means, you know, you're only portraying that on your business, right? And that's what we want. We want stable business owners, so that we can continue to see your success. That's all we have for tonight. I'm gonna put the podcast in the chat again. That dropped today. You will all receive an email in about 8 minutes. Take a listen to that. And then next week we'll have Duncan. We're going to interview Duncan. So that's going to be a, you know, a good show as well. The slides for today, those are all going to be in Google Drive. And then tomorrow, just give me a little bit of time, but I'll get the links in there tomorrow. So if you want to play back the video, I know, I can't remember the name right now, but I know someone wanted to have their husband sit in and kind of just listen to it. So, you know, they feel like it'll really help them out. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you again, especially to our guest, Keisha, our new BDO.
Oh, this was awesome. This was awesome. This was awesome.
Yes, you came in on a really special presentation today, Keisha. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you again next Tuesday.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night. Good night. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You too.